everybody, welcome back. I'm Eggplant Evelyn and today we are making a Thanksgiving inspired recipe using Brussels sprouts. Are you a fan of Brussels sprouts? They might not be your favorite vegetable, but we're going to show you a way to make them into a salad with a homemade dressing that's going to make them taste delicious. So we have our Brussels sprouts today. We are making a Brussels sprout and pear salad recipe. You can find our recipe and our supply list for today's recipe at foodliteracycenter.org. Our recipe today we'll make 7 cups. Well, for this Thanksgiving, you might not need to make such a big portion, so today we're actually only going to make a half portion. Let's see if we have all of our materials that we need for our Brussels sprouts and pear salad. Something really great about our recipe today is that we're making a dressing from scratch. It's really going to bring out the flavors in not only our Brussels sprouts but in our pears. So we're going to need a juicer if you're going to juice your own oranges today. So we have a juicer. We are also going to use a zester. So if you don't have a zester, you can also use a box grater. They have different sizes of graters on the different sides, so you can use that instead. So we're going to use the whole part of our orange. Another thing that you'll need for your recipe today is a sharp knife. So kids, if you're helping with today's recipe, you might need your parents to help you with the Brussels sprouts because we do need a sharp knife. Another item we're going to need, of course, is our mixing bowl with our mixing spoons, some measuring cups, some measuring spoons. I have a whisk with me today for our dressing. And I also have a food chopper. Now you don't need a food chopper, this is optional, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to use it for our almonds. And you can either use a chopper or you can also use a knife as well. So let's get started with our recipe. Our recipe is very simple. We are only going to need Brussels sprouts, a pear, a nice fresh pear, some almonds, and our dressing. So that's all that we need for today's recipe. Let's get started. As always, make sure to wash your hands with warm soap and water for at least 20 seconds, and make sure you give your produce a nice rinse too. So, our Brussels sprouts. Our Brussels sprouts are part of the cabbage family, and if you've ever looked at a Brussels sprout real close, they might even look like a miniature cabbage. It's a little bud, it's a little cabbage. You can also pull back each leaf of a Brussels sprout. So they're part of the cabbage family. Our first direction for our Brussels sprouts is to shred our Brussels sprouts with a knife. So you can shred it using a sharp knife. I'm going to be using a sharp knife today. Our usual kid knives, it might not shred as nicely, but just like you would shred a cabbage, you would cut it nice and fine with a knife. So we're going to be doing that today. So of course, kids, make sure if you are using a sharp knife that your parents are around, or parents, you can do this part and kids will be able to chop our pear. So you're just going to take your small little bud, your Brussels sprout, and we're going to cut fine pieces just like you would cut a piece of cabbage. So you can shred it. You would cut nice and fine pieces. And I'm using my claw so I can keep my fingers safe. And if I just cut it once, I might just get some slices. So I'm gonna go in and cut it again because I want nice and fine pieces because we're making a salad. So just whatever your preference is, if you like bigger chunks of Brussels sprouts and maybe you want to keep them chunkier, but we're gonna cut them nice and down. And now you can see I've cut them another time. Now we really have some nice shredded Brussels sprouts and it looks like cabbage. I have my 3 cups of Brussels sprouts shredded ready, and it looks like cabbage. You might not even be able to tell the difference. So I have already my Brussels sprouts chopped and shredded. Now kids, maybe you want to participate in the fun and doing some of the Brussels sprouts. You can always take each leaf off and just take the leaves off one by one. That might take a long time, but you can also add some leaves to your salad if you want to help out. But where we really want our kids to shine is in dicing our pear. So I've already taken my pear and I've cut it in half because I want this nice flat side so that it won't move around on my cutting board. I'm going to put the sharp knife aside because I don't need that anymore. And we are going to go in with our tunnel. I'm going to make a chop down the middle, and this pear is a little bit tough for my knife, but I'm making some cuts. I'm going to make another cut using my tunnel because I want some pear cubes. We're cubing. We want some squares. So this is an interesting recipe, right? We're using Brussels sprouts and now we're using pears. We're combining a vegetable and a fruit in this salad. We're also going to be using a fruit in our dressing. So I have my pear here. I've already made some cuts and I'm going to go in to dice. I'm going to turn it to its side and continue with my claw, and I'm going to be cutting down the sides safely away from my fingers so that I have some nice cubes. Now you can make the size of your pears whatever size you want. I kind of like mine a bit more chunky, so I'm going to keep them that way. I've also cut some pears a little bit smaller. As you can see, here's some pears and they're a bit smaller pieces. So I have these pears already cut for my 1/2, and then I have this other half. This is a really fun new recipe that you might want to make for Thanksgiving if you want to try to have Brussels sprouts in a different way. Sometimes we roast them, sometimes you might steam them, so this is a fun way to include Brussels sprouts in a salad with a fruit, with a citrusy dressing. There we go. All my pears are nice and cubed. I'm going in, and with my kid knife, they cut just fine. So we have our Brussels sprouts, and I'm going to add my pears. We're going to add these into a large bowl, and what we need to do next is add a 1/2 cup of our dressing. So our dressing, you'll find on our website, you'll find the recipe for our salad, and you'll also find the recipe for our citrus mustard dressing. This is another good recipe that only has 3 ingredients, and you might have everything at home, so it's a really easy dressing to make. The first thing that we need to do is juice an orange. So you need an orange. We are going to cut this orange in half. I'm using my tunnel so I can safely cut my orange. And there's lots of different juicers out there. We have this fun juicer that's really great for kids to use. And what you're going to do is you're just going to press your orange in and get as much juice as you can. So we are looking for about just enough juice from this one orange. I'm just going to take this out. We have our 1/2 orange right here. You want to get as much juice as we can. There we go. And then I'm going to take my other 1/2 and we're going to juice. And the nice thing about this juicer is it has a spout, and it has some grates that catch the seeds so we don't get any seeds in our juice. And also, if you just needed to just take the juice out, you could just have your cup of orange juice here. So I have most of the juice out of this orange. Oranges are in season right now, so this is a nice fresh orange. And I have a 1/2 half cup of olive oil in my jar. So I have my half cup of olive oil. I'm just going to add the orange juice in, the fresh orange juice. And we also want to use some of the orange peel. We're going to zest it. Again, you can use a grater. We have a nice little zester, and you're just going to add some of the zest from the skin. And this is a great way for us not to waste any part of the fruit. So we have, you can see some orange pieces coming in. It might also be on the other side. I'm going to tap some of the zesting that I've done. And so you can do as much as you can. I'm going to go all the way around this 1/2 of the orange. And that's just going to give it a really nice citrusy orange flavor. And you can see now my orange, it has these kind of bald spots now because I've zested some of the peel. So I have some in here. Add a little extra that fell out. And our last ingredient is just 1 tablespoon of brown mustard. So I have my mustard here. We just need 1 tablespoon, 1 full tablespoon right here. And I'm adding it to my dressing. Now, if you have a lid to your dressing, you can just close your lid and you can shake, shake, shake until it's nice and mixed. I have a little whisk right here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and mix my dressing. It's great to make your dressing in a jar, that way you can just cover it up with a lid after you're done using it, and then you can use it for other dressings or other salads that you wanna make, and you have a fresh dressing at home. So now you can see our dressing is a beautiful yellow color with some brown specks in it. That's our mustard. It smells good. It smells like the orange. And now that we have that all mixed, we're gonna come back to our salad, and we need a 1/2 cup. So I've got my 1/2 cup because we're only making half the recipe. I'm gonna pour a 1/2 cup in my salad, and I've got some, I got a spoon and a fork right here so I can toss my Brussels sprouts with the pear. Make sure the dressing is evenly coated. Kids, this is a fun part. You can mix, mix, mix so you can keep your salad fresh. It smells really good, that mustard and the orange. We have that olive oil in there. It's gonna make a nice flavor. You probably haven't had a salad like this before. Maybe it's the first time. I really encourage you to make it. It's something new, new flavors. This year we may want to spice things up, be a food adventurer. All right, so I think I have everything coated, and our last ingredient that we need are almonds. I'm gonna move this to the side, and we have our almonds. Now we have whole almonds here, and the recipe calls for some sliced or shaved almonds. So it's up to you. If you just want to add whole almonds because you have whole almonds, add whole almonds. Maybe you have sliced almonds at home. But if you have whole almonds and you want to cut them, you can use a knife, or we've showed this fun gadget before. This is a Kids Safe food chopper, and you can just go ahead and give it a few pumps, and we have crushed almonds. We have almond chunks, so you might want to move it around a little bit so you can get all the almonds. There we go. So now I have these smaller pieces of almonds, as you can see. Might be better for this salad. And we want about 2 tablespoons. So I have about 1 right here, and you just want to top it off. Perfect. We have about 2 tablespoons. that's really as easy as this salad is. It's gonna be crunchy from the pear, from the almonds. Look at that nice green color. It smells really great. Let's put it in a nice little bowl so we can see what it looks like. I might want to add some more almonds because it looks like that crunch will be good. Make sure you get some of that pear. Let's see. Okay. And now you have a really cool, new, interesting salad. Maybe you want to share this with family members you're not sharing Thanksgiving with, and you can all make the same recipe and see what you think. This is a delicious, new, fresh, citrusy salad with a vegetable that might not get a lot of love during Thanksgiving, or Brussels sprout. Let's see how this tastes. I want to make sure I get a piece of pear. I want each piece of the recipe in here. You can see we have a little almond, a piece of pear, and of course our Brussels sprouts. The dressing is so good. Wow. I really like this recipe because you don't really taste the Brussels sprouts. It just tastes like it's a cabbage or lettuce mixed with the pear and the dressing. It's just like any other salad. We at Food Literacy Center hope that you have a fun and safe Thanksgiving and you're able to share some healthy recipes with your family this year. Thank you.